Hi, and welcome to Showskaters podcast episode 12 with Matt and Val. Matt and Val are a headline roller skating act performing in Absinthe in Las Vegas. In this episode, we get into so many great topics. You'll learn all about a few key techniques for specific moves, and we hear all about their journey from starting as dancers, transitioning when they met, how they got into roller skating, some of the challenges they had at the beginning, and you just really get to hear all about who Matt and Val are. And it's been one of my favorite podcasts to date. So let's get into the podcast.
That's all good.
Yeah, so I'll start it off as imagine you've just come live and we're like, how you guys doing, blah blah blah. And we'll repeat what we did before, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we are live here. Get to there. Just make sure we're all good. Hey, how are you doing, guys?
Hey man, nice to see you.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good to eventually speak to you guys because I've watched you for years and years and years. I remember through the pandemic watching you guys, and I was in Vegas, and you were not in Vegas. We were like switching places. And one thing I've always loved about you guys is the speed. Right? Yes, I dream of that speed because on inlines it's so hard. Like you're in Vegas now, aren't you? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me what it's like to live in Vegas. Like, what is it like to live there at the moment?
I think it's great. I love this place.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, it's kind of crazy because we just came here we had a year contract. And because all our contracts prior to that were 6 months or 3 months, or like we kind of felt like it was just going to be like a year and then move on to the next thing. And now we've been here for like 6.5, 7 years.
Yeah.
So we've really got to know it. And
it's funny because I remember first coming here thinking only ever seeing Vegas like in films.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are we going to live? Like, what are we going to do? And then realizing that Vegas is literally the tiny, the strip is like the minutest percentage of Vegas. Like there's, you could drive on the motorway from one end to the other for 45 minutes and still not be out of Vegas. And we live in such like a nice little like suburban area with trees and people running and walking their dogs. Like it's great.
Fantastic. So what is a normal day in the life show day like for you guys?
Oh, a show day.
Yeah, show days are very different to a day off.
Not that interesting, really, are they? We normally kind of go, first thing we do is get up and like kind of eat and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like just like classic gym workout, come back and eat a little bit more.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah. We mainly just get up, get to the gym, and then come back, chill out, eat, and maybe have a nap.
And then go to work. Our work days are very much like preparing ourselves for the show.
And like mentally as well.
Mentally,
I think.
Yeah. Have we got enough energy? Like, have we got enough rest? Have we moved our body first before we go and do the show?
Yeah, we always feel like it's much like obviously we warm up when we get to work and stuff, but we feel better if we've done something in earlier on in the day that kind of gets our heart rate up or like our muscles go.
That kind of just wakes your body up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on like our first after our days off, on our first days we always train skating, just to like, because it's so funny, your brain just kind of thinks, can I still do it? Can I not?
Yeah, like
you've only had like
a day off or 2 days off.
2 days off, and your brain's like, okay, but we just go and just do some like basic stuff, and then
doing stuff. Yeah, we'll do that at the beginning of the week, and then we'll do another practice at the end of the week, where we'll just be able to have a little bit more fun and just do things without like the pressure of knowing that it's going to be our first show of the week and like
Yeah, it's like I can totally relate to that. I remember when you'd have just one show in the day and you just did other stuff and you got to the show and you're like, this is when I had a few numbers. And it took a few numbers just to get into it.
Yeah,
that's
like
right.
working out or doing something. It's such a game changer. And like You know, it's like, how do you
And
guys
it's-
deal with the nerves coming up for it? Because yes, it doesn't matter. You can do it a million times, but something could always happen out of your control. Someone could drop something on the table. You could sweat, and it goes on. You know, how do you deal with those nerves coming up?
It's quite funny, really. We have probably maybe 10 minutes before our act
yeah.
where like we kind of get into our zone, into our focus, and like
And there's like lingering nerves before that.
yeah,
And like I said, even from when we wake up in the morning, we know it's not crazy, but it's like, you know, you've got
to do a show.
that crazy thing that you're gonna do at night time. But yeah, really, like when we start to just before we put
our skates on, we kind of it's like the calm before the storm. We sit down, just take some deep breaths. We just feel like we say to each other, okay, just keep strong, keep safe, you know.
in our zone. We always say keep in the zone.
Keep in the zone, you know. And
we don't really talk to anyone either.
If someone talks to us, you might get like a kind of a nod or a grunt back, but we kind of keep in our zone, don't we? And we always say to like, it's okay to be nervous, just as long as you use those nerves in the right place and the right time, and then you'll be fine. Don't let the nerves overtake you. Just breathe through your tricks, breathe through it. Take some nice deep breaths in between the tricks, and then just let it happen.
Yeah. And do you feel like you've always had these nerves? There was never a point where you just relaxed? Because I feel like sometimes if you get too confident and you relax too much, that's when you can kind of make mistakes, as opposed to just being focused and knowing that it's really, really dangerous. Even if you never make a mistake, it's still dangerous. The speed that you guys go, I'm like, Val just must be like, every time she lands,
yeah, that's
it's never ever gone away, and I guess that's what's makes it so exciting, because every time there is like, we're very confident, but of course anything can happen at any point.
And with the skating, as you know, like there's no catching it, there's no we're falling, it's spin on the floor, like there's no in between. So we just have to make sure you're switched on, you're thinking about exactly what you're doing in the moment and not anything else.
Yeah, and I think also with the amount of shows that we do, and now we've been at Absinthe for, you know, quite a while. We do gigs every now and again, but mainly we've been in that one place doing that one thing. So we have to really focus on not making it like oh, we do this, you know, like each time has to be
fully switched on. Yeah.
I mean, it is special. It is really special what you do, and it's special for the people that come to watch, right? Because I remember when I came over there and I saw Billy and Emily, and that was the first time I'd seen a roller act live. Even I was like, this is insane. Because I came there, I was like, this is what I want to do. I'd love to come and work in Absinthe. That's what it was a dream I had, and I'm like, not sure. I'm used to an ice rink, you know, that well, it's okay, but it's pretty special. It's really special what you guys do. So shall we find out where you guys started? You know, you didn't start as roller skaters, did you? You know, like
no.
when you were younger, I believe were you both dancers?
Yes, we're both dancers.
So let's start with Val. Like, where is your kind of the beginning of, let's say, show business? Like, what drew you to dance, and kind of give us a little bit of a backstory, maybe some shows you did.
So I'm quite different, very different story to Matt. But my family is in show business. My dad was originally he's Hungarian, and originally from the circus. His parents were in the circus, and he was born into the circus. Three of them did a teeter board act together. My grandma and my granddad did like a perch act. And then they left Hungary and went to Australia, I think, when my dad was a teenager. And my dad started to train juggling.
Really?
And he became a juggler. So he kind of like left his parents and was working on his own then. And he did a lot of like cabarets. He went more into like the cabaret world then, rather than like traditional circuses. And he actually worked in Vegas at the Flamingo in in
Wow.
the
Really?
70s or something. Yeah. So when we got this job, he was ecstatic.
Yeah, like
He
a
was
full circle. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was super
Yeah.
happy. Yeah.
And then my mum is English, and she was a dancer. And my mum and my dad met in a show in London, and then they ended up living in the UK in London, outskirts of London. So then I've got two brothers. I'd say I had a normal. I didn't have a circus
Yeah.
upbringing, but my parents started producing shows, cabaret shows, a lot in Europe. They did a lot of cruise ships. So I was always around show business, and like for our summer holidays, they used to do a show in France, and we used to spend like 2 months out there while they were rehearsing, and
Yeah.
I would go, we would all go along with them. But anyway, so from like word go, when I was like 2 or 3,
Yeah.
I was put into dance,
Wow.
and from then I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to dance from the very beginning. And then when I left school, I went to train professionally in Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did a course there at Brent Street in Sydney, and then moved back to the UK, and then was doing jobs here and there, and then that's when we met.
And that's when we met.
And
Wow.
then
And what drew you to Australia? How come you decided to go there?
Because my dad's family, he'd moved out there when he was younger. My granddad had always been there. I didn't have any grandparents there anymore by the time I moved there, but we were looking at UK dance schools, and they were all 3-year courses.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents had always had Australian dancers as well come over and work for them, and they were always amazing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
at the time, we just thought, why don't we? I have an Australian passport, so I thought, why don't we go and check out what's over there?
Why
And
not?
then we went and loved one of the schools there, so that's how I ended up. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's so interesting. I had no idea. So when you were around the circuses, had you already seen roller acts?
No.
No.
So, what do you want to do your story? Or should I keep going?
No, you keep
No,
going.
that's fine.
No,
Yeah,
you keep going.
Yeah.
Well,
When you were younger, when you were around the circus.
when I was younger, no, I saw lots of acts, but I never saw
Roller.
any. Oh, actually, I think there was one. I must have been like.
But it wasn't in your mind. You were like,
No.
I'm going to be a dancer.
Yeah, it
You're like,
wasn't
she was like, I'm
something
a dancer. Yeah.
I was always fascinated by the acts. I
Yeah.
always loved them, and I always thought they were like, wow. But I love my dancing so much.
Yeah.
And it is really crazy because when we started skating, I think we were both 22 or 21.
Yeah.
So we came into it quite late for like acrobatics and stuff like that. But it was just kind of crazy for me because I feel like I did this full circle. Like I did not know that I was going to end up back in circus at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And mine, it's crazy because mine's like, it's so different. My story is so different. It's unbelievable. My family are like nothing to do with show business or dancing or anything like that.
You're from a small town.
I'm from a very small town in the south called Totnes. And like my dad was a gas engineer for what 45 years, 40 years. My mum was a teaching assistant.
That's good.
And like I was when I was like 3, I was like quite an energetic little kid, and like my mum and dad, they run a rugby club, and the rugby is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And when I was 3, apparently this is what my mum said, I was just so energetic and like a little bit naughty and stuff. So her and her friend were like, why don't we take them to a ballet lesson to try and take some energy out of them?
Yeah.
So basically they took me at 3 years old to start ballet.
Wow.
And then I loved it, and I stayed there, and I did so I come from a musical theatre background, but before I went to a professional dance college, I wanted to be a ballet dancer.
Really?
I was a ballet dancer.
Sounds like
Yeah.
the story of Billy Elliot, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It is a bit like
Yeah.
Billy Elliot's in the South.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I played. Yeah, did all my ballet and then all my other types of dancing. And always made sure I played my rugby and football as well when I was a kid. And then when I was an associate at the Royal Ballet when I was 10 to I was 16. And then so I was at the Royal Ballet then. And when at 16 when I finished school, that's when I moved up to London when I was 16 to go to a professional dance college in London called Performers. And
Yeah.
that's when I started to do like other styles and stuff. And then when the commercial world, I came into the commercial world and things like that. Yeah, and I did, and so I did 3-year course there, and then came out of that, did a few cruise ships and things and bits and bobs, and then I did a tour around UK dancing, and this is how we met. It's crazy. So I did the tour, I came off, and like the day that my tour stopped, my agent called me up and was like, "Okay, there's an audition tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
For this show, and I was like, but if you get the audition in the morning, you have to start rehearsals for the show in the afternoon. And I was like, nah, no, like, I've just come off tour, and I was like,
Yeah.
nah, I'm not doing it. I'm like, and my agent spoke to me and was like, okay, please just go to it. So I was like, okay, right, okay,
Yeah.
I'll go to it. So the next morning I go, and it's Valentina's father's company.
Oh wow.
Which is her mum and dad's company for Ball Productions, and I did the audition, got the job, and then started that, and that was when I first laid eyes on Valentina, and that's when we first met,
Yeah.
and it was such
And you'll laugh because the show was at is it the Grand Theatre in Blackpool?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What was
Yeah.
this, 2013?
13.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what's funny? So I started dancing when I was 3, and I danced from 3 till about 13. And in all that
Yeah.
time, I did shows every year in the Grand Theatre and the Winter Gardens because I didn't start skating until I was about 11, 12. And then I kind of got to move because I was from a performing family. So, like, show business, go.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I don't like it. I didn't really like dance, you know. But it's just it's interesting. We kind of both performed there as well, and both started as dancers.
Yeah,
We
there you go.
actually, after we'd met as well, we actually did the Pleasure Beach. What's the showroom? They'll have a little showroom there.
Paradise Room.
Yeah,
Paradise Room. Yeah, we did
we
that.
worked there as dancers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, we'd already started training skating then.
Yeah, like so after we met, which was I was telling that story because I wasn't going to go to the audition, and that would have like crazily changed our lives because we would have never met. That one thing where I was like, no, I'm not going, and then I ended up going. You know, it would have changed our lives.
That's insane.
Drastically, you know. And then we met doing this job. We went to Blackpool, and then we came off that. We were doing like bits and bobs, you know, as dancers. You kind of get a little bit of work there, a little bit of work there.
Yeah.
You never not really do anything together. You might get one short thing together, and that's it. And we were just kind of like ready to change something, ready to do something else, you know. And then it was your father.
Yeah. So my parents they were creating a show at Roncalli's Apollo in Germany. And he was putting the show. They were putting the show together, but the acts were already selected, and one of the acts there was a roller skating act.
Wow.
And my dad came back, and he was like, "I think you two could do that."
Yeah.
And he had no idea about it. And actually, from his like what he remembered when he was in the circus was like roller skating was not like a big act.
Yeah, it was someone's easy second act.
Yeah.
And it's so
That's
funny.
what he thought.
Yeah, because when we started to learn it, and he was there with us all the time. He didn't know anything about skating, but he had that circus mentality that kind of pushed us in the right ways. But once he started to see it all, he started to realize that
this is hard.
Yeah.
So he was like, why don't you try doing this roller skating act? And I said, okay. So he actually kind of sponsored us. He has ties in with the Hungarian state circus. So he had a friend there that did the roller skating act.
So this was kind of because obviously it's like roller skating is, I think, one of the most popular acts right now. But this was like just before that really big boom, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like trying to find someone that knew anything about roller skating.
Yeah.
It was like kind of hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad heard of this person that maybe did a little bit at some point.
Yeah.
So got in touch with him, and it was actually really good. Wasn't it?
Yeah, we just went.
But I hadn't put skates on before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Valentina hadn't skated before. I could
Yeah,
skate.
you don't need to be able to skate. You just
Luckily it was that way around.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. It's better, but for the girl, it's you don't have to carry someone, do you?
I'm in the end most of the time.
Yeah. So Steve, her father kind of was like, "Hey, what? So I'll send you to the Hungarian State Circus School for 2 months.
Yeah.
Have private lessons with this one guy just to see like if you can kind of pick it up, if you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like if you do something solid for 2 months, you know, if you don't have to be good at it afterwards, you can just see if you're slowly picking it up and if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did that for 2 months, came back for actually the job at Pleasure Beach.
Yeah.
As dancers. So then we were like, okay, what do we do? Did we enjoy it? Was that a waste of time? Because like, okay, so let's try and go for this. So we actually for whilst we were at the Pleasure Beach, we used like their
It was the ice rink, the practice rink.
The practice ring, the practice room.
Yeah.
The
rehearsal room.
The rehearsal room, and just kind of as much as we could just practice, didn't we? Yeah, and just try to kind of taught ourselves like a lot, and you know, you'd watch videos and we would try and do it and watch videos and try and do it and just keep trying and trying and trying, and then we managed to do our first job 8 months from going to Hungary to our first job was 8 months.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And the thing is, like, something that, you know what's funny about Hungary? I started learning to do the German wheel when I was there, because in certain jobs there's a ceiling of how much you can earn, right? Like when I went to the cruise ships, I was an ice skater, and the ceiling was like $1,000 a week, and the acts were getting $2,000 a week. I'm like, I want to do an act. So I had a Hungarian girlfriend at the time, so we kind of looked. We tried, okay, maybe German wheel, and probably as dancers, there's a ceiling of how much a dancer can earn. So if you can think, what if we could do something else, then we can earn more money with more prestige and probably more interesting. So that's probably kind of what you were feeling, maybe something like that.
It's definitely
together, like
and
after
doing something
learning that
together.
like I think we'd been together for 2 years already before we started training, but it was just so good to do it together and start achieving this thing together. And also we do miss dancing sometimes, but I get that feeling of being performing and being on stage, and that's what I love.
It was definitely a little bit of a pull, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard for like it is very different from dancing, which I'm sure you know. Like,
well, of course it is. I mean, when you do a show, a 2-hour show, you may have 13, 14 numbers, and now you go from a show and then you've just got your act, which in some ways is the ultimate dream, is the ultimate goal. Like Hot Ice, you do like 7 numbers in the first half, 8 numbers in the second half, and earn a fraction of the cost. So it's pretty cool, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah, we're very happy.
Every now and again, we're like, where have we come from? Like, this is insane that we're doing this right now.
Hi guys, let's take a short break whilst we talk about Showskaters. Showskaters is a platform and a community that I'm building. I really want to bring all the world's ice, inline and quad together on one platform. It is free. There is a way to chat that you can DM. There's lots of videos to learn. And, you know, we're just trying to grow a community of people that love skating. Even if you're just starting out, there is a Learn to Skate course there. And if you're a seasoned veteran or you're someone that hasn't skated for years, you used to be in shows, then this is for you as well. You know, we see the Facebook groups, and these Facebook groups are great. You can post something, you can ask questions, but there isn't really a chat. You know, you can't really get into conversations with someone. It's more like you post something, they reply, which is great. But I just really want to kind of grow this. So there is a link below where you can go and join for free. And one of the things that we're going to be doing, especially for coaches, is you can post all of your information in there, and then skaters could reach out to you and then work with you. We're not taking a percentage or anything like this. We're just providing a space, a platform to help skating flourish. Now back to the show. So once you've been dancing and then you started to roller skate, like, did you find having all of the background of dancing really helped to create the act that you kind of have now, as opposed to just circus people? Like, how did that kind of pan out for you?
Yeah. So one of our main goals was to create an act and use our dance backgrounds as like as well, I don't know how to put it, as like
An asset.
an asset, yeah, as an asset for our musicality and like, you know, for our movement and our lines and stuff like that. Our goal was never to really stop it, like after tricks, and stop and just kind of keep the musicality going and really use our dancing as an advantage.
I mean, yeah, we still have like, I think with skating is quite an obvious start and stop moment, you know. So it's getting those in between bits. But I think for you, with so much ballet, his posture is just like perfect straight away. I think, like, you knew, like in ballet, your back heels.
Like I'm holding this anyway in my ballet, and I've done this all my life.
Yeah.
In moving and stuff like that, so it came really natural to me when I'm holding her, not to round anything or anything like that, to hold up and keep a long neck and my shoulders back.
I did a lot more commercial and hip hop, so I'm a little bit. I'm always, even now, I'm constantly like, I look at videos and I'm like, I need to be up. I need to be So I think and
it's musicality as well, and it's kind of like, well, our aim was to do our tricks and stop and all on the music, on bits of music. So, and we've sometimes been like having to be late in a trick.
Yeah.
Or, you know, something's happened, we're late, we come out not on the bit of music that we usually do, we feel the reaction with the crowd so different. Rather than coming and hitting that piece of music, stopping that quick and hitting the music, and then the crowd go.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you could do the trick with no music, and then you can do the trick where the crescendo hits or it drops and something happens and it just elevates the trick. It's so important. It's so important. And probably a lot of people don't think about it because they don't have that background. It's not ingrained in them. So it's like for me, when I watched you, like the first time I kind of saw you, I'm like, the extensions when you were right back, and everything had nice lines. It was really nice to see.
Thanks. Definitely thankful for the ballet background for sure.
No, 100%. So what were some of the biggest challenges for you when you started roller skating, and then kind of as you got through to a point where you thought, we're actually quite good at this? Like, what were the challenges to get to that point, do you think?
So I always got a funny thing that when we started, we would do the act, and I'd always say in my head, like, oh God, I hope this gets easier. You know, you just think you're going to get fitter, you're going to get stronger. And like, I could say to this day, it does not get easier at all, you know.
Because, if he's tired, then it's hard. If he's strong, then he's going to push. And it's like, if there's this constant thing.
I always remember at the beginning going, well, I can't wait till I get fit and stronger, and this is going to be so much easier, but it doesn't.
But I think, I mean, from the very beginning, I think we kind of just went for things, like, and we just didn't think too much in those moments. But looking back, like the transitions, like of our bodies, for example, from like being a dancer to being skating, like my back suddenly went like but we didn't really do any stuff in the gym at that point to maybe we could have. But our main focus at that point was just, we would skate in the morning and we would skate in the evening, because we found we couldn't do it for more than half an hour really. So we would we would train then in half an hour. We'd be doing tricks and we'd be practicing, and then suddenly at some point the tricks started to get a bit messy. And the tricks started to get a bit sluggish, and it was like that we found out that
we should just stop. Like, don't try and push through. Like, it's not making you any stronger. You should just stop, take your skates off, go somewhere else and come back to it. It's best to do, we found out it was best to do short and maybe a couple rather than trying to push through for an hour or an hour and a half.
Sure.
You know?
Well, I mean, I've always found that
Mm.
this act is kind of like doing HIIT. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you do
100%.
something intense, then you need a bit of a break, and there comes a point where you can't just do HIIT for hours.
Yeah, right.
You know,
that's funny because we didn't really train at the gym until like, and then it was a big thing when we started working. We were like wanted to start getting into working out a bit more, and we were so scared at the beginning.
Oh, so yeah,
to do anything other than our act at night time. We were like so nervous.
Yeah.
But we did actually then start to do hits. Like we only did hit workout for so long.
Yeah.
And yeah, we agree. It's definitely like the best. Like it's a type of strength you need, and it's your breathing.
Yeah. I think also one of the biggest was the neck twister. The challenges was our neck twister. But when I did our first show, I was like, "There's no way I'm doing that trick.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no. I can't do it." And your dad was like, "No, just do it. Just bloody do it and get on with it, and it will get better." And I'm happy he did because we did it, and it took quite a while.
I think it took like from when we started working. So we'd been training for like 8 months. Okay, we hadn't been doing the neck twister until the later stages of that, but at least a year of working consistently till we like started to get a good spin on it.
Yeah, it was messy at the beginning. I just didn't know how it was going to work. Just didn't know why it was doing it.
And yeah, we always say to people that ask now, it's just like it's one of those tricks that you just have to keep doing, and then going. Like one day, like it just clicks.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just maybe strength and everything else came to it, and it just now it just happens. We don't practice that trick anymore.
Yeah.
The
thing is, what's much harder is when two people learn at the same time, as opposed to, let's imagine I start with someone, or you started, Matt, with someone new. You know exactly how to do everything, and you've got 100% confidence in what you're doing. So you're going to use all of your strength. And then, but if you start together, you're probably using 50%, and you're scared to do this, and then she's not sure, and she doesn't trust if you can do it, and you don't have the trust yet. As soon as you've got 100% trust in each other, it's much easier, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's definitely what it was like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think was the key for you, Val, to be able to get it? Do you remember doing something, or maybe you can even talk through what you do now to do it? Because there's loads of people trying to learn this trick, and they're probably at the same point. I can't do it. What am I doing? Do I do this way? Do I do that way? Do I hold here? Do I do this? Do I do that? Like,
yeah. And there are obviously like on the online and other skaters, there's a couple of different ways doing it. So, I mean, that what I said before, I do think that is one of the tricks where you have to just like push through, and like you will get there eventually. But when we first started, we were trying, one way, and then you were like, no, try spinning the other way. One foot in front, the other foot in front, and looking back, I was just not.
My arm positions, I was thinking up here. I started up here, and then I tried to work in different areas.
And I think I remember trying to, because we really didn't have a clue from the start. I was like trying to hang, because I've never done I never really done much any acrobatics really, because I was dancing, hanging, and then I realized quite quickly that it's completely different hanging from the ceiling compared to hanging that I felt anyway. I felt it's completely different. And I think just over time I just found like the straight line, and like from here I'm very close in here, so I've kind of found my straight line with my body from here, if that makes sense. But I think it took a while to find like exactly where that straight line is. And also his speed is a big thing. Like if we don't have that good pull,
Yeah.
the spin is just not.
So what I found out is we tried spinning,
Oh, yeah.
and it didn't work. And then so we figured out now that we let science do the spinning.
Yeah.
So we let centrifugal force spin her. So the main thing about the neck twister is you're pushing and pulling. You're pushing with your feet and you're pulling with your top half. And if any point that you come forward or that you slow down at the tiny a minute bit, you're not going to spin.
Yeah.
So that whole time, the whole neck twister has to be pull, 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 and then stop. That's when you come out. So
Yeah.
I figured out if I have my arms a bit lower, I can squeeze my back more, and I can just pull all the whole time, pull like this, and she just spins automatically.
Even now, like when we're like super fast and up, like I'm just like my spin is like really going fast, and then like say we haven't gone into it as well, and he's trying to pick up, push and pick up that speed. I'll be like, oh, I couldn't. It felt like I couldn't spin as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
always say
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I always say to people, like, you get a bit of string and you put a piece of paper on it and you go like this and you pull and it tightens, it spins really quickly.
Yeah.
That's what the feeling of the neck twister has to be.
Yeah. It totally makes sense. It's almost like when someone's like, I want to lose weight. It's okay. Get in a calorie deficit. It's okay. I want to learn this trick. Okay. The fly needs to be flat and you need to go really, really fast and it will naturally happen.
And it will naturally spin. We had some friends that we were teaching a little bit, and I've got them to like just hold and push, and she started to go around like a couple of times, and they couldn't get the spin, and then suddenly she started turning, and I was like, good, that's all you need to do, keep doing that, and then you'll get pushed and it'll get more. So I just push, I don't spin, and it just happens.
Yeah, I think this is why it's important that people learn certain tricks at certain points. Like you need to learn all of the easy tricks to get your confidence, and once you have the speed, then you can go into more advanced tricks that will naturally happen.
Yeah. We always every now and again we'll get a message and be like, oh, like, can you have help with this? And then they'll be like, oh, it's our first time trying it, and I'm like, try it like 50 more times. But yeah, and we always from the beginning and now we always say to people, the most important thing is the feet, the guy's feet.
Yeah, your technique. If you can nail your technique down with your feet,
you can build up into those other tricks.
Yeah. All you're doing the same thing. Doesn't matter what trick or what you're doing, your feet are always the same. If you can nail that and be confident in your feet, the top bits,
you can learn the other things.
The other bits will be so much easier.
Yeah. Well, the rest is just doing different things with your arms. Like
exactly.
Learn how to take the weight and stuff.
Yeah. And if you're confident enough to stay in the center, stay in the circle, keep that momentum and that tempo of your feet, and do all this with your arms, and then you can do the other stuff.
So obviously, I'm not a quad skater. I have skated on them a little. Well, I've skated on them quite a lot. I've done a few tricks, and I'm just like, it's just not for me. Do you find? What do you do to stay centered, or is it now just a sixth sense that just happens? Like,
oh, it's funny actually. I think it's a little bit of a sixth sense, because we definitely have to work together. We have to be so in sync with each other.
Yeah.
And
we always say once we're in the easy bit is when you're in the trick and he has all my weight. The hard bit is getting in and out of it.
Because that's when our weights are sharing.
Push pull, yeah.
You're the push pull, and that's definitely the most important to keep center. And when I'm up there, I definitely feel without knowing or looking if I've gone off center or something. It very, very rarely happens. It's just.
But if I take off early or something, and then you suddenly have to do a bigger push than normal, then that's when like you could travel. So I think it really comes from being together. But and
it just pull back, like knowing where to pull back the opposites. It's always, if she pulls on one way a little bit weirdly, I have to pull back the other side.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have like a tempo where you push like? Or do you increase, or is it leaning back that you use to gain speed?
No, it's my tempo.
Yeah.
So I'm in my head. I'm always trying to keep at a tempo, and maybe if my trick is faster, my feet might get a little bit quicker, but the tempo is always like a metronome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you start, that metronome goes off is when you're going to start traveling, because that means you're pushing in different places, in different spots.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mind is definitely like, yeah, definitely. I always say, I've got like a saying that's like, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice. I mean,
we never really, I mean, we didn't know we were going to get the speed we do, but I think a couple of things that help with the speed is one of those, having smooth feet makes it faster. If you try and make it faster, you start to lose the speed. Well, not lose the speed, but yeah. And then another thing is him using my weight, not lifting me up, him using my weight.
Yeah. So when we practice, I always say to Valentina, don't take off. Don't. If you think you're going to take off, wait a bit longer. Wait until you have to take your feet
so you
off.
feel that pull.
Yeah. She's going up in the air because she has to go up in the air, because the centrifugal force is going like this, and it's going like this, and then she's in the air. And I always say to her, okay, don't take off, and then she takes off because she has to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how you end up just taking the weight off her.
I mean, it looks the best if you're going around and then the fly just lifts up as opposed to a drop, and then you've got, now it pulls you forward. Now you've got to. It's just aesthetically pleasing to to see like that.
Yeah, I think like as well with building an act, like in a trick, you want, when you're taking off, you want that to be the most wow moment. So you want a progression, like you're going around and then you're taking off and then you're in this, like there needs to be a progression.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that was so different when I came over to roller, because on ice you just pick them up straight away, but then there's this like almost like build up, and you spin and spin and spin, and then if you get faster and faster and faster and faster, and then you're like, oh my god, what are they going to do? And then you take off. That's already like you've already done something. It's almost like a hook on social media. We've got you, now you're going to watch what we're going to do,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think just particularly with our first trick, the airplane that we do, we that's what we probably practice that stuff the most, don't we? Like,
the ins and outs,
giving the leg and then like getting that.
Well, I mean, the ins and outs are as important. You could have the best trick in the world, but you land it, you finish it like a sack of spuds.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You just ruined everything. So let's kind of talk about, would you say that is your signature trick, or is there another one that you would say, or is there a couple that you like? These are the tricks that if we were on a TV show, a morning show, and they said, we want you to do your best trick, like wowers, like what trick would that be?
I do think the first trick is one of our signatures, the airplane, because the airplane, I do the squat and then I do the twizzles.
Yeah, that's squat.
That's squat.
It's something that you could do on ice, but even there's nobody in the world that does it like you do it, because you have such a big turnout that you get really, really low and you lean back. A lot of people go down, but the guy's almost leaning forward. It's impressive.
It's kind of scary though, right? I remember at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just being like he had to like push back, and you feel like you're gonna.
Yeah, you have to. There's a sweet spot which is really scary, but once you hit that sweet spot, you're like, oh, right, this is where I need to be. I can stay here all day, But to get there, you have to go backwards, not down.
Yeah.
Which is.
But then have your feet. I mean,
and your feet.
I don't know how he does it.
My comes like maybe for my ballet and stuff, my turnout and things like that. It doesn't seem to be forcing it down there.
No, I mean it's so important for acts to have something that maybe other people can do it, but there's just you do it to just such a level that it's just like someone sees it like, oh, that's Matt and Val's trick, or there's other tricks that other people do.
That one.
Definitely the airplane. Maybe the one footer with the hand off, and then the big ups and downs.
Yeah, I think that would be the only two, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I think we would put in the neck twizzle as well, because people just love that. But that's
it's not like a signature. Yeah, the one footer would be a good one, I think. I mean, a few other people do it, but
Oh, yeah, I
It's-
mean, so take like that's something that I tried it with Diana when I was in Vegas. The ankle, one hand.
Yeah.
And I did it with Rosie, but we did it from the ice skater entrance. I'm like, this has got to be possible. I know everyone does it with the going forwards. I'm like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
But that moment where I've got like tiny little hands. Like you literally see, I've got the same size as Rosie's, same size as my grand. That's how small my hands are. So I'm always like, can I do it? Can I get my hand? That first time
Yeah.
you let go, like, walk me through the first time that you tried it and you let go.
I remember.
Yeah, we were already working. So like we progressed our tricks as we were working for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So yes, we were in Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, I remember doing in Cirque du Soleil, and I was doing the 1-footer, and I just wouldn't take my hand off, and we were going, and then one day I was like,
were we practicing
I
it?
think we might have practiced it a couple of times, just to try, and it was good. It was going well, and I was like, just one of those moments where, okay, I am going to do it.
He has to do it in the show.
I'm going to do it in the show.
We've practiced, and
I'm going to do it. Like can't come back from this now.
Yeah.
And it was super scary because I go like this, and I go, ah, ah, and then come back, and I'm like, okay. So, and in my brain as well, what we do if we do something like that, then now that's like that now forever.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that and then not do it.
Yeah.
So then I've done it, and I was like, it was a really super scary moment because I wasn't sure how it was going to.
But you would have had to like fully go for it because you can't just go like.
No, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going for it. I'm going to go for it. Took my hand
and
off.
It was a big show we did that in as well.
Yeah.
Show.
And I just remember going,
Yeah.
It was good.
And that's when we also had to up our like sticky stuff.
Yeah, we upped our sticky stuff a little
we had liquid chalk up until then.
Yeah.
And then at that point, and your speed was getting more, we were like, okay, we need to find something that's a little bit more sticky.
A little bit more sticky. Yeah.
We were working with like old school Cirque people, and they were helping us. Well, we were talking about it, and they're like, all you need is petrol and rosin.
It's like an old school flying trapeze thing where they put rosin on their hands and they just dab some petrol on their hands. Yeah. We were like, oh god, we can't do that, can we? So I started putting rosin, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna put some petrol on. So I've got some rosin petrol, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, this is insane. And then we did act, and I just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Didn't once have to think about my grip, and I was like, oh my god, this stuff is great, and it stayed sticky. It never unstick the whole act.
Wow, is that what you still use now?
Yeah, so no, because we were like, we've used it for years.
Yeah, we did, and we were like, okay, this is not good.
We changed it in Absinthe, like 20.
Oh, was it after the pandemic?
It was I think it was after the pandemic.
No, it was before the pandemic.
Was it?
I think so. Yeah.
So we must have used it for like
a year or two. We changed to like strong alcohol and rosin.
Yeah, so it took a while, but we found like just 99% alcohol and rosin. Just shake it up. It's still not as good as rosin and petrol.
Don't try this at home.
The problem is
don't try the petrol at home.
But it's nearly as good.
Yeah.
But rosin.
Have you ever tried like firm grip and tough skin and stuff like that?
Yeah, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't stay.
So it's better than that.
Oh, it's definitely better.
We would use like tough skin if we're practicing, and we can like reapply it.
You can reapply it.
It's good for like fast. It's like good for one, maybe two tricks, but for the whole act,
it does. Yeah, it doesn't stay.
God, I'll tell you what. I need to like relive my life.
I tell you what. But, like, I never wanted to let go of rosin and petrol, but it was like, yeah, okay, we're putting petrol on our skin, so this is not good.
Yeah.
And that actually made me quite nervous, like changing the grip and thinking that it's not going to.
By that point, we'd done it for like a good few years, and we would really got our speed and everything. And like it's really hard. Like you don't want to start when you've got your speed. You can't you can't come back.
Yeah.
Because that's when stuff starts to like you can't ever take it easy. That's what we were talking about before as well.
Yeah.
You can't ever take it easy because you can't just be slow when you've been doing it, or not even slow, but just you can't do it differently.
Yeah, I don't really have any other way of doing it. Like I'm pushing. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna try and go as fast as long as I'm gonna push, and then I'm gonna come out the trick. There's no like, okay, I'm in the trick. Okay, let's just dawdle along and then come out.
Yeah.
Push, 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 push. End the trick. Okay, start the trick. Push, 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 push. End the trick. You know, and when you change the sticky stuff, it was. But we got something pretty good.
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. That's cool to know. I never knew about that. So now you're using rosin and 99% alcohol.
Yes, yeah, just in a bottle and mix it all together and shake it up until the rosin completely melts and dissolves.
Okay. Interesting. Right. So, what do you think has been your most memorable or unforgettable performance that you've done together?
Ooh, I always love our very, very first performance in Hungary.
Oh my god.
That's funny that we did our very, very first performance in Hungary in an amphitheater with 3,000 seats.
Wow.
The stage was 45 meters long. It was massive, right? And we were these two little ants in this massive stage, and there were like 4 huge LED walls behind us. It was our first act, first time we did it. We did the act, and then we normally put our neck piece
in
like,
that act, yeah.
in the act, like underneath the table, because we didn't want someone walking on and being like giving it. So we were like, and then the very first time we did it, Valentina went down to grab it and lifted it up, and the other end flew out into the audience. Gone. The very first time we've ever done it.
I just had like
half
I just had my end.
Yeah.
And I was just like a hand in my hand.
She went over there, she turned around and was like this, and we're like,
and at this point we had one other trick in our vocabulary.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So we just look at each other and like the music's going. We're like,
she like threw it over her head and was like, we were like 1 foot around the neck, 1 foot around the neck, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we did it.
That was funny. That sticks in my brain like as yesterday.
Yeah, that was
Oh
fun.
my god, that would be funny.
The very first time.
Yeah. When things go wrong and you're like, oh, what do we do now? It's like, has there ever been anything that's kind of gone wrong and you've just had to think on your feet?
I know, like I always tell a story about like at Absinthe once. I think the fire alarm at Caesars went off and it cuts out the music.
Yeah, everything turns off.
And the house lights come off.
Yeah.
And we're about to go into the next visitor, but like I think we'd either just start to go or we just got in it or something, and it cut out. But we were like starting to go.
We were committed to this. Like when just before you go into it, you commit.
Yeah.
And then boom, everything turns off, the lights come off, and I'm gone. And I'm like, we're going. I'm committed, and dead silence. I'm pushing. I'm like making all these grungy noises. We're holding this, doing this next to us, and dead silent. Oh, it was so.
And then we
funny.
finished it like we finished it as if the music was there still.
We finished it, yeah.
And then it was really awkward because
Yeah.
we were just like, there was no music, and everyone okay, they clapped, and then we were like, then we couldn't get off the stage because they'd lifted the stage up, but
nothing was working. So we finished and then just sat down and like kind of rolled off.
God, oh my god,
Yeah.
that's I mean, imagine the lights went off.
Oh god.
Yeah, luckily they didn't go off. They
That
did
would
go
be
to house
scary.
lights.
Yeah, that would have
We
been.
had that once, didn't we?
Yeah.
That would be scary.
Did it happen in the trick?
No, what was that?
In Spain.
Oh, that was practicing, wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah.
That was old circus where the generators went off mid practice. But it wasn't too bad. It was just like boom. Oh. Yeah.
God. Hi guys, let's take another short break. Please make sure you do subscribe and you do like and comment below. It really helps the podcast grow. The bigger the podcast gets, the bigger the guests we can have, right? And please make sure to sign up for the One Blades mailing list. I can't understate how big this is what we're doing. Ice, inline and quads all developed together. This is going to be a bit of a disruptor for the industry, and we are a direct-to-skater company instead of the old business models. And you will have discount codes. There will be ways for the skaters to essentially earn money with the company. So we're doing some great things. Dan has been working really hard to create something that's really, really needed. I've spoken to a couple of skaters lately, may have shown them a little bit, and they are absolutely blown away with what is coming, because we are solving one of the biggest problems with ice blades, and I just can't wait for everybody to see them, to be honest. But there's a few things that we need to get done first, mainly our patents, so then we're fully protected. And once we have our patents, which we are starting to get them right now, then we will be able to show you everything that we've got, and it's going to be pretty special for skating. Now back to the show. I'm curious, how does it feel when you do your tricks in front of audiences? Like, what is the reactions that you get, and kind of how does that feel for you?
I feel like it really drives me. Like,
Yeah.
when we do like the headbanger on like the 1-footer, especially like at Absinthe now, they're so close. And if I can hear people like I can literally hear all of it, and I love it. I'm like, get me closer, get me closer.
It's definitely a huge drive. Like, when the audience are great, especially at Absinthe, the audience are quite rowdy, you know. They all want to have a good time and stuff, and everyone's so close. And especially with the roller skating, when it's so close, it just blows everyone away, and you can just hear people, you know, screaming and shouting. And when they stop, the clapping and how they appreciate it, it's just definitely a big drive.
It's an act that's like, it's very obvious when to clap as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a stop. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think it always, roller skaters always get a good reaction, I think. And it's just, like, people are, well, when you said that your first time you saw a roller skating act, I mean, I can't remember who we haven't seen many, to be honest, live.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh my God, like, I don't want to sit anywhere.
I wouldn't want to sit anywhere near that.
It's just us going and doing it.
And we kind of made a point about trying to do it quite short. Like, our act is quite short, but we do still do all the tricks, all the lengths of the tricks, but we wanted to try and, you know, go in, do a show. Like, I joke around, but like, punch someone in the face with a roller skating act and then leave. Like, we wanted, and
our kind of persona.
that was like our thing to do, you know.
Just like, I mean, our act now is like very rocky, and the crowd here love it, and it's just like, although there's that musicality and everything there, it's like, you kind of have to give the crowd what they want, and they want the tricks. So
and they're rowdy and excited here, and it's a good crowd to perform to.
Yeah, I mean, the music that you use, it's perfect. It is the perfect music, because you'll sit there and just start tapping your foot just with the music, without what you guys are going to do. But that's so. What kind of what inspires you to keep going and keep pushing? You know, it's like, do you ever feel like, okay, what next? Or, you know?
Oh, it's not, we don't feel about what's next too much yet, do we? It is coming slowly, like what's next and stuff like that. But like, our drive is just us, like the audience and us together, doing this together.
Me personally, and you can say for yours the same, but it's just performing. I love going out there and doing it, as hard as it is. And sometimes I'm sitting there going, how am I going to do this tonight?
Yeah.
But like, every time we get out there, and that I get to do it with Matt, you know, it's like a huge thing. And and
just the drive of where we've come from and where we are now, like, is, you know, it just keeps us going. And
we just always we keep working on our stuff, we keep working on the ins and outs. We kind of have our tricks. We work on some other tricks, but we kind of have our tricks now. And it's really cool seeing kind of, I guess, maybe the next generation coming out with like different stuff, or not. It's not even the next generation, but
the younger ones coming up. You know, they've watched what everyone else is doing, and they're hungry. They're trying new things. But you know, something, as someone that's kind of, you know, I've tried to do every trick I could do, but when you come to an act, you can only do 5 to 7 tricks. So you're probably going to revert back to the ones that look different, that you can do really good and as crowd pleasers, as opposed to doing this combination where you go for one trick to the next trick to the next, because it's people don't even understand what you're doing anyway. So
Yeah, do you know, it's funny you say that. We started by doing the 1 foot around the neck when she was in splits, and for me, it's one of the hardest tricks. It's hard. What you want to try and go fast, but it's a really long trick. You've got no hands, and we were like, it's so hard. And then we changed it to like kind of like the one hand with the leg here to the 2 feet around the neck, which is so much easier.
yeah,
And it went crazy with the crowd.
yeah.
The crowd went mad about it. I don't know why. I don't know if it was timing and stuff, but I was like, okay, well, let's just swap that out then, because there's
No,
no
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
well, we've always loved our tricks, and when we were creating them, we were like, you know, I think like some of our combination, well, some of them are ones that were not around when we started.
Yeah.
But I think you always have, I think maybe because I've come from the show business background, like it's a like what we do, it's a show, and you have to put not your feelings aside, but you need to
do what the crowd wants and what it reacts to. If they're not getting a good reaction to like an insanely hard trick, and then you do an easier trick and the crowd go mad, it's like, why are you doing that trick?
Oh, exactly. I mean, you guys do so many, like 12 shows a week or something like this, so you've got to.
That's right.
Then the safety and everything comes in, because it's no good if you have 12 tricks, but you can't do the 5 that you're doing in the act safely and like we did really hone in on our tricks, and we feel like we really perfected those things.
No, I totally agree. And as someone that has been on the other side, where I'm like, no, I want to get this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and then you do just like a regular 2-leg neck spin, and you just do it a bit faster, and you can try to get the body up. They much prefer that than one there, because they don't understand. It's like when I watch do transcend, and they're doing all of this stuff hanging, you know, when they hang. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know what's hard, what's easy. It just looks like throwing around and catching. That's the same thing with roller skate. They don't. It's for someone that can't even skate. What you're doing, just skating, is impressive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, how do you handle any injuries or setbacks? Like, do these come up, and do you have to skate through, push through, or do you just, are you really good at not getting injured?
Well, I wouldn't say. I think there's. I haven't been.
I would say we're pretty good at.
I'd say we're pretty good at not getting injured. I haven't never had something bad that I've had to not work. Like I kind of get like little aches and pains and things that just come with the job.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I think in our whole time at Absinthe so far, with so many shows, I think we've had between us like 5 days off because of injury.
Wow.
Yeah. So we just try to take care of ourselves, and maybe that's another thing, like doing those same tricks. Well, in one way, doing the same tricks means that you're not like, you know what you're doing. But on the other hand, like my hip, it's getting, the pain is setting in.
I think like we're getting older. It's not injuries.
How old are you guys now?
32.
32. Are you both 32?
Yeah.
God, older. I'm 44 in a month. Older.
Are you?
Yeah, January 1st, I'm 44. I mean, this is why it is time for me to kind of move into, like, you know, something other than just performing all the time. So
yeah.
But
I mean, I guess we're not so old, but I think the skating, like for us, like having my leg turning constantly and the speed that we've been going at for so many years is like kind of,
there's some wear and tear for sure.
But we're good. It's more like now, just over time, just like things are just slowly starting to hurt a little.
But do you get much time off? Like in a whole year, how much time do you actually get off to rest?
We have 3 weeks
at the same time.
Well, we can take it how we want. Like in weeks. So we tend to do like, we'll try and split it up. So we'll do 1 week, and then the next time we'll do like 2 weeks.
Oh, so you do a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot. We've actually got one of our weeks in the beginning of December.
2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
And we haven't had time off since February.
Yeah, so we're going to Hawaii in December. So we're ready for that.
Yeah, you get to take your skates.
Well, I'm gonna take my pickleball paddle.
Yeah.
Not gonna get skates.
No skates. No way. I'm gonna put them in the box and not look at them.
Yeah, definitely. So with the kind of injuries or niggles that you have, Val, do you feel like it would be good at some point to switch that trick out for a different trick? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think
what trick is that's hurting?
It's the airplane, because it's so weird, because it's my foot is like turned in.
Yeah.
And it's just and like when we take off, and it's like so much force like pulling it out.
Yeah.
And that first trick is probably like maybe 45 seconds to a minute long.
I mean,
like it's so long.
Yeah, there's a super simple solution. Matt, just spin the other way, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right.
Have you tried doing tricks the other way, spinning?
No. I don't even know if I could skate the other way. I think I tried like going round forward the other way, and it just.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't tried anything hard the other way, but I've spun the other way a bit, and I'm like,
oh God, no.
I mean, this would be. It was one of those things. It would be cool to watch, but the audience wouldn't know how much harder it is because it's all hard.
Yeah.
In our eyes, it would be really cool to like be going around one way and then go around the other way.
Yeah.
But no one would care.
That's always our physio's like answer. It's like, you need to start doing stuff on the other leg, or you need to start going the other way. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm just going to walk around in a circle for the rest of my life. Just like kind of just slightly going to the left.
You just have to grin and bear it. Maybe get some special injections, some PRP.
Luckily, so far they've been like at bay, and it's for me. My hip is just something that it kind of will like flare up a little bit, and I'll have to give it a lot of attention. And like with my exercises, and that's a big thing actually.
Yeah.
For a bit of advice, strengthen everything up before you, because I would go to the gym and stuff, but all those little muscles in your hip that you need to be working, like years I just let it rip out, and then now like I'll do my exercises, and it's much more important, I think, for skating, for the girl to do strength stuff before you go on stage rather than stretching.
Interesting.
Like squats or any of those like hip thrusts and stuff, anything
that's going to keep your hips tight.
And warm them up in that way rather than stretching. You can stretch afterwards, because you don't want your muscles all loose,
especially around your hips and stuff,
I think.
Interesting. So what advice would you give to dancers or anyone that is interested to kind of taking themselves to the next level and pursuing something a little bit different?
I would say my advice is that it's all about committing. You should, if you're going to make the change, you can make the change. Everyone can make the change, but commit 100% to something you want to do and you enjoy doing. If you kind of do a little bit and then go back and do a little bit, it will never happen.
I think a big reason that just like it was timing and everything for us. It was at a time when we started time in our life where we literally didn't have much else going on, didn't we?
We were ready to change anyway.
So all of our life for 8 months was learning this. And maybe not everyone has, I'd say, maybe the luxury to have that time, but I would agree that just like we just went for it with absolutely.
Go for it. Invest in what you're doing. Invest in what your skill that you want to learn, and commit 100% to it.
Yeah. So if you were playing poker, you're essentially all in.
All in. Exactly. That's it. Yeah. All in.
Can't fail if you're all in.
I mean, it's the best way, right? You know, it's like you've just got to go for it, and if you fail, you learn and you move on, and you get better. Right.
Definitely,
So, if you could design your dream performance, where would it be? Would you be collaborating with anyone? Like, I know you have the dream job of roller skaters already. I know that. But if there was like something you could just design it, like what would it look like? Where would it be?
For roller skating for us.
Yeah.
I feel like I would want to do like a huge like because we have Metallica, like we should go on tour with the Metallica.
Oh, like tour with the band that we're using.
And be like, I don't know.
Center
with like flames.
Yeah, and the actual Metallica playing our music.
Yeah.
That's it. Make it happen.
That would be amazing. And around the table, there's fire that shoots out.
Yes. Yeah, fire and everything.
She ends it. She's like bald.
Yeah.
I do it for the one job.
Do it for that job.
God,
yeah, no, that would be cool. Yeah.
That would be cool.
No, I feel that.
Or if it's not Metallica, like a big. I don't know, it's cool. We haven't done. I don't think we've done anything
like a big arena, a band, like a big for a big band arena or something, just to go around. Yeah.
Or Nickelback. I don't say Nickelback.
Nickelback, but people don't like Nickelback.
No, they don't.
Yeah. People talk down about Nickelback. It's funny when Nickelback goes. People do. It's got a good beat, and people like it. But like when we stop and the Metallica comes on, before we do anything, everyone like cheers and shouts out, and like they love that song so much. Before we even move on, it gets such a good. Just the music gets that change.
Yeah, it's definitely good to go that way than not the other way.
Yeah.
The musical change. Yeah. So, looking back, what has been the most rewarding part of the journey from dancer to acrobatic roller skater?
I think it's where. Oh, how am I going to say this? I don't want to sound too big-headed. it's where we've got to from being a dancer and finding this weird skill that we're like really bloody good at.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And obviously all the hard work, we didn't just come to us. The hard work we put in, the commitment we did, the sacrifices we did to get here, but then seeing how good we are and it was like, how did we even like get like kind of, it's such a weird skill to suddenly find out you're really good at it. Or I mean, we didn't just find out, we did put the work in, but like I think that for me is the biggest thing there.
Well, the thing is, you've obviously worked really, really hard. You've had a bit of natural talent. You've got all of that work that you did from dance. So you combine it all together. And it is what it is. It's not big-headed. You guys are amazing. You're the headlining in Absinthe in Vegas. Like, it's pretty much every roller skater's dream to go and have your job. So you better keep working hard, otherwise these young guns are going to come and
they'll come up and snatch it.
We've got to keep practicing.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Sure. I mean, I think I just like, and I think I said it before, and it might sound a bit naff, but it's true. Just like that, Matt and I get to go out there and do this really cool thing together. And
their applause, the reactions are for us. What me and Valentina are doing, you know.
That's something we created together, which is just really cool. And they're pretty badass as well. You know, like people are like, "Oh my god!" Like, you know, all the reactions that you get, like, "How do you do that?"
How do you do that? Like, it's so brave.
So brave. But I just love it.
No, it's fantastic. I really hope I'll get to come back out to Vegas at some point, and you'll be there. That'll be pretty sick. Do you know about the Rare Evo, the Cardano NFT event that happens? I think it's in August. It happened. There'll be another one coming up in the next August, and I'll be there with my project, like with my project and One Blades and everything. So we will, once we start going to events, we will have skaters and we'll have performances at these crypto events, because this is one thing that we can do as a crypto skating company. We can go to crypto events to promote ourselves, right? So I'm probably, at that point, if you are on our skates, on our blades, pretty sure you will be. Then you can come. Then you can come and perform there. That'll be
That'll
be
cool.
That's fun,
that'll be great. I would love to do that.
Yeah. So, is there a message or philosophy you'd like to share with those chasing unconventional dreams?
Mm. I might be repeating myself from earlier, but I think just commit 100% to like kind of one thing you want to do, and and put all your mind to that one thing, and then you'll be much more likely to make it and much more likely to get amazing at it. But it's all about commitment, really. Don't half-ass anything. You know.
No, exactly. And so when you finish your career of skating and you look back, what do you want people to kind of take away from your journey? Like, who do you want to be thought of as skaters in your mind? Your legacy kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have been known for our speed, so that's kind of cool, I think. And just like our every time we go out there and we perform, we like give it our absolute all. And like, I think, maybe like our colleagues can vouch for us, but we work super hard. We're like, I don't know, we just really take it seriously, and have fun doing it. But
yeah, and also, yeah, definitely. I want also people, mention like, oh, they were always performing like at the top of their game. They were like, their as a performance, not about the tricks, about, there was never a point where, okay, you might have had a small audience, so they didn't perform that well, or they just didn't give like, didn't care that much. Every show they went in 100%, performed to, it doesn't matter how many they performed to, they gave it all they got.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Is there anything else anything you want to touch on that we haven't spoken about?
No, I think that's everything. I think that was a good.
Year off about all things roller skating.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. Do you have any questions for me about anything? You're like, nah.
No, I mean, hopefully we get to meet you in person.
Yeah.
And
I
keep
hope
an eye on all the new stuff.
And I hope your business grows and is a huge success.
Yeah, thank you.
Sounds great, and it sounds like it will be.
Yeah, so obviously I can't talk.
No.
We talked a little bit about it before, guys. So yeah, we did it.
Yes.
We smashed it. I mean, every time I do these, I'm like, God, this feels like is the best one. I don't know if I'm just getting better at it or I'm just getting better guests. Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah,
but I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys. Now I have a whole different picture of who you are in my mind, as opposed to like, oh, it's Matt and Val. They're in Vegas. They were dancers and they skate really fast, etc. Now I know where it started. I know
where it's come from.
I think we're also kind of quiet online, aren't we, and stuff as well. But yeah. We're always here and open to anything like this. And
yeah, of course.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, I'll let you guys go now. It's probably, what is it, like 2:20 a.m. in Vegas?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
We didn't mention that actually that we just came from shows.
We did just come from shows.
All this makeup on.
Yeah. Fantastic. All good. So yeah, we'll conclude there. So just thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. And I'm gonna drop you guys off now. All right.
All
right. Thank you so much. Nice talking with you.
You too. Bye.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
And there we have it. This was an incredible podcast. I really enjoyed having a conversation with Matt and Val. We started here at 10 a.m. in the morning, and they were 1 a.m. After their show. So it's been an interesting way to do this. But I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and leave a comment down below. Have you got any questions for Matt and Val? Because they are very experienced. They know what they're talking about, and maybe they can help you as well. And also make sure to follow, One Blades and Showskaters on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, etc. And you sign up for the mailing list for One Blade, so you hear about everything coming up first, and then join the Showskaters platform where we're building a community. Now, thank you so much, and I'll be filming my next podcast very, very soon. And yeah, let's keep growing as a community and have an amazing day.